let's use this logic. If the Reserve Bank is saying we don't expect inflation to get under control until late 2025, then what's the chances of rates reducing before 2026? So we've now got this potential 2-year window where there's very low, well, I'm going to say upside of rates going down, but we could still get more rates going up. And so reflecting on that peace of mind versus playing the market, and if the peace of mind is, geez, if I can keep a rate with a 5 on it and I'm happy with that, like, how does that change my decision making or my behavior?
And how does that flow into your thinking of, is it a good time to buy or is it a better time to hold off? I'm starting to get that question a bit, because there is a thought, and there's a little bit of evidence that more properties are coming onto the market, right? I think the listings, don't know if you have any stats there, but it was a 17-month high, I think, listings at the moment, which 17 months isn't a huge time frame. That we talk about a property shortage in terms of the number of dwellings, but more stuff coming onto the market, more people flowing into the country. Where does the Aussie property market stand in terms of cashed up buyers or people with borrowing capacity who are looking to do something?
We've got this natural population growth of about sort of 0.4 to 0.6%, right? And with immigration coming in, they sort of expected that there might be about a 1% influx of new people, all right? So, but apparently we're sitting at about 2.5% at the moment of a population growth. So there's an extra 1% than what everyone's predicted. But of course, if you've got that 2.5%, you sort of go, well, okay, on 27 million people, right, that means we've got 540,000 people coming in, all right, plus. And if you work on an average, dwelling of, say, 2.5 people per house or 3 people per house, then you've got an extra, 200,000 dwellings that we need, all right? So, and so, it's that influx of population growth. It's sucking up pretty well everything that's coming onto the market plus more.
So if you had money in your pocket, what would you do?
Look, personally, yeah, I would keep going. I would say if I can afford to get into the market, I would keep going. Short of unemployment going through the roof, I can't see anything that's going to stop property being a stable investment.
Are you seeing any particular pockets of Australia, or is that fairly widespread, that thinking?
Yeah, I think it is. Look, again, population growth, if we're assuming population growth is what's driving the stability, then it's still making sure that you're thinking about areas where there is population growth. If I use my classic story of Taree, I don't think Taree's had population growth in 20 years, so I don't know if I'd buy in Taree. But if we're talking Sydney, Newcastle, Brisbane, Melbourne, Perth, those types of areas, plus your regional cities that are experiencing population growth. And I think it's about talking about stability, not growth. There should be stability in the market. And then you look at the softer reasons for buying. Well, wait a second, if I'm confident that there should be stability in the market, and I can afford the property, then because of the problems with renting at the moment and the frustration of people getting moved every 6 to 12 months because people are selling properties or whatever, why wouldn't you look for that stability?
Australia's got an amazing resilience in terms of the market. The way that I would say a lot of my experience, the client base that we have handled what's confronted them in the last 18 months or so with the rate rises, and it's a combination of some of those government support schemes that came in during COVID, and how businesses responded. People have generally faced this huge increase in the cost of living and mortgages very admirably, I would say. Resilient and tough, and that's not to say that everyone's made it through, but I would say there might have been an expectation in the market that Australians would have suffered quicker and more deeply than probably what's happened.
Look, I think you're right. I think, though, what's happening, you hear about suburbs in Sydney where the average house has now gone from having one family to 2 families living in it. especially when you start looking at from more of an ethnic background, and what's the proportion of young people that have moved home because they can't afford to move away. So I think there is this stuff happening, but it's just not really being reported on. I think the bank of mum and dads, had a big part to play, which, we can be guilty of, or we're responsible for in some ways. But also what's happened is we've had this huge, wealth transfer that's going on right now. All right. So people, parents, grandparents, either saying, oh, I want to help the kids and other bits and pieces. So